Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. My name is Howard Pinsky, Senior XD Evangelist here at Adobe, and I hope you're all doing well on this almost Friday. It's Thursday. We're almost through the week, which also means we're almost through the latest round of Daily Creative Challenges. But don't fret, because in just a few weeks, I'm going to be back hosting another set all about web design, which is going to be really fun, really exciting. I can't wait to bring all of that to you. Big hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone joining here live on Behance. If you are tuning in live, let me know in the chat who you are and where you're tuning in from. We've got Ankita and Sam and Katie and Orit, Brett from Canada and Katie from New York, Christine, Cornell, who says Canadians are taking over the stream. Exactly. Christine from Hamilton, Aubrey from Boston, Anita from Toronto. Great to see everyone. New faces, old faces. I hear Discord banging at me. I'll get to that in just a moment. Let me hop over to my screen. And if you're just joining us, you still have time to catch up. You can definitely participate in these challenges from the beginning. You can rewatch the live streams, rewatch the videos. Head on over to behance.net/challenge/XD. That's the URL. Someone will put it in the chat in just a moment. Hit the big blue register button at the top if you haven't yet, so you're notified when new challenges are released. And every single day during the set of 2 weeks, you're going to receive a challenge, except the first Monday. So Tuesday to Friday on the first week, and then Monday to Friday on the second week. I'm going to go over the challenges in just a moment. You can join us in our Discord community chat, get information about the daily challenges, share tips and tricks, get tips and tricks, ask questions, talk amongst almost 60,000 designers that are signed up in Discord, which is amazing. And then more importantly, if you hop into the challenge channel, you can submit your work, you can get feedback, give feedback. It's a wonderful time. I do hear, it's not in here. People must be privately messaging me. So hop into Discord, it's a great time. You can watch us live. I am here 2 o'clock Pacific time every single day during these challenges. And then when the next set of challenges begin, same deal, 2 o'clock Pacific time. We also run challenges for Photoshop and Illustrator, occasionally Premiere, which is wonderful. And we have streams all day, every day. It's wonderful. Even when Adobe people are not hosting streams, we have streams from the community. We have amazing designers and artists and photographers who are on here. Behance is a great community. And then finally, you can share your work either on Behance or on Discord like I just showed you. All right, so where do we start off? We started off last week with our profile screen, and we're building out various elements and various screens for a social media app for a mobile device. We moved on to explore how scroll groups can help you create scrollable content cards. We built out a friends feed using repeat grids. We built out an interactive emoji picker. That was a lot of fun using nested components. And then we explored how we can use 3D transforms to create a stories experience. We went on to messaging using stacks and padding. Navigation bar yesterday. That was a bit of a mess, the live stream at least, but I'll get to something in a moment. And today we're going to be building out a video calling experience using audio playback. Now, if you missed any of the live streams or you don't prefer live streams, some people do not, a lot of talking, right? Head on over to youtube.com/Howard Pinsky. I have videos for all of the challenges, except tomorrow's challenge. No video for that one. But we have all the challenges, including today's, where we're designing and prototyping a video call. And of course, yesterday's with the navigation bar. All right, let's hop over to Adobe XD. Boop, and we are going to get going. So here's the template for today. Again, we're going to be designing a video calling experience between multiple users, and we're going to be using audio playback to make it so much more exciting. And right here, there's a link to the video if you want to watch that. A little bit of inspiration, but we are going to get going. So here's our first artboard, and what I'm thinking is on this particular screen, we may want to start with a nice large image of the user initiating the call. If you've ever made a FaceTime call or anything of that extent, you might be able to see yourself in the background, and there might be some information on the foreground. So I'm gonna grab the good old rectangle and draw one out across this artboard, right? And just so you can see it, I'll change the color to gray. Now, because we want something to indicate that we are making this call, I'm gonna hop over to Finder or Explorer on Windows, and I'm going to grab an image of a toy face. It's me, look at that. I don't have my glasses on, but I have the same shirt on. Wait, where are my glasses? Here we go, hold on. It's me, there we go. Look at that, isn't that cool? All right, I'm gonna pop this directly into XD, and it looks pretty good. Now, since we're gonna be having additional information on top of this image, we may wanna make sure that we can see it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop the opacity of this image to about, let's say 20%, possibly, maybe even 30%. Let's call it even 25%, right? Now, it looks a little bit washed out. So I'm gonna select the entire artboard just by clicking on it, and then I'm gonna change the background to black. There we go. So it's nicely dimmed. Now on top of this, we may want to start with some text to let us know that, I am making this phone call, for example. So I'm gonna grab the text tool, shortcut key T, click, and we're gonna type out Howard Pinsky. I'm gonna center it, make it a little bit larger. The typeface, Sophia Pro, it's a pretty good one. I'm gonna keep it at that. We'll make it a little bit bolder, maybe semi-bold, possibly even bold. There we go. And then right below this, we may want to just very simply indicate that this is a video call. Now this is secondary information, so I'm gonna drop it in size a little bit, drop it in weight a touch, and just leave it about there. All right, now, right down here, we may want our other users. So we might have 4 additional users that will be on this call. So with the rectangle, I'm gonna draw one of these users out. I'm gonna round out the corners a little bit to give it a bit of style. 16 pixels looks pretty good. Now, for this particular design, we're gonna be eventually resizing these users to put them in bubbles, right? So, keeping them inside of a repeat grid is not going to work, but we can use a repeat grid to help us create additional users very quickly. So I have this one selected. I'm gonna hit repeat grid right here at the top, and all together now, boop, there we go. I can drag out additional users going across my artboard, adjust the spacing if I need to, and position it in the center. Now, hopping back over to Finder, let's go ahead and add, let's see, 1 user there. Let's go for 2, and then 3, and we'll do 1 more, this one right over here. We'll drag all of these directly into XD, any of these cells, and view, perfect. That looks wonderful. These toy faces are great. All right, next thing, down below, we might want 2 icons. One to maybe start the call if it hasn't already been started, and one to end the call, or maybe mute your mic, or something to that extent, right? Completely up to you what these icons are. I'm gonna grab the good old ellipse tool, shortcut key E, and view, drag one out, and this one is going to be nice and green. And this is to start the call. Now, you can make the argument that the call looks like it's probably already been started. Who knows, right? We're gonna run with this. Or we can just have 1 button, possibly, right? So what we can do, if you want, just have 1 nice large button. You don't need 2, do you? Nah. Nice large button right in the center. And we need an icon. So I'm gonna hop over to my plugins panel down here at the bottom. I have the Icons for Design plugin already installed and up. I'm just gonna call it phone. Click on an icon, load it on in, change the color to white, and we're good to go, right? And of course you can play around with the color if you need to, but it's looking pretty good. All right, back in my layers for a moment. I'm gonna make sure to organize some of these, group them together. I'm gonna call this phone, a repeat grid. Oh, the repeat grid. We don't wanna keep it grouped because on the next screen, we're gonna rearrange and resize these users. So now that it's done our job, ungroup the grid, but I can go ahead and just rename these if I want to. 1, tab, 2, 3, and 4. And then maybe pop them all into a group. I can also include myself in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, group, and call this users, and just make sure it's at the back. Beautiful. All right, so our first artboard and screen is complete. And now we want to move on to our second, which is where the call is actually going to be taking place. So I'm going to grab this artboard here, duplicate it, Command and Control D, just like that. And like I mentioned, might want to rearrange these users. So I'm going to start by moving this text layer, both these text layers, up a little bit. We're going to change this just to say, let's say video call, and maybe calling 5 people. Or I guess it would be 4 people. Now, would it be, do I include myself in there? Because I'm calling 4 people. Okay, I don't know. We're calling 4 people. And we're gonna make this a little bit smaller. Maybe this one a little bit larger. Let me know in the chat. Do you include the person that is initiating the call, or it could be like call between 5 people? I don't know. Anyways, so now what we're gonna do, we wanna put them in nice little bubbles. So I'm gonna start by selecting some of these users here. And I wanna make sure that over in the properties inspector, that the height matches the width, right? So the width is 81. So I'm gonna select all of these, set this to 81, and then I'm gonna round out the corners completely so we have circles. There we go. Area 52, that's a great name. Finally got to see one of your live, big fan of you. Thank you, I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone hanging out here during these streams. So I'm gonna start going through and just rearranging some of these users. Some of them will be larger than others, some of them will be smaller. Make sure to round out those corners. And I know a lot of you are talking about toy faces in the chat. I love these toy faces. They're so colorful, they're diverse, they're wonderful. Now this one, I'm gonna do the same thing for this large image in the back. I'll just start by setting both to about 100. Bump up the opacity, round out those corners, and I'll put me, I'll put me up here, because I am initiating the call, right? Make this one a little bit larger, shift them around a touch. That's looking pretty good. And of course I can select the entire group and move it as I need to. Now, since the call is taking place, we may want to change this button just to end the call, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select this phone icon. I'll change this color to red, just like that. And then I might wanna put a slash through it, right? So I'm gonna grab the line, shortcut key L, drag one out, make it a little larger. And of course you can find a new icon if you want to. Maybe I'll make that one more, just like that. And that'll end the call. It's not the greatest looking icon, so if I do hop over to my plugins, I can go to, I know there's an icon here somewhere to end a call. There it is. I'll just, I'll take the lazy way out. I'll replace it completely. There we go. Wonderful. All right, now if you want to get a little bit fancy, you can add additional things. Maybe, since the call is being initiated and it's actually ongoing, you can add a bit of a background here. So you can add sort of like an action bar, right? Let's change the color to a gray. You can also add a gradient if you want to. Move it on back. And on this, if we do have time, we may not, but on this you can add additional icons to flip your camera, mute your mic, a lot of different things, right? But I'll pop this right about here. All right, so the call is taking place, and now we want one more screen, what it's gonna look like when the call is actually going. So right, this is where the phone call is ringing, this screen here, and the next one, which I'll duplicate, is what's gonna happen when the call is actually started. So I'm gonna delete these text layers because we probably don't need them. And what I want to do is maybe rearrange these one more time so that they're kind of like little windows almost, right? So what I can do is I can just start rearranging some of these. Let's go ahead and set the rounded corners of all of these to, let's try 24. That could look fun. And I'll just start popping them into place, right? Move these out a little bit, move this down, and just work my way through. And it's completely up to you how you decide to rearrange some of these photos, right? Make this one larger. Maybe I'll move that down. Make me a little bit larger, and there we go. Beautiful. And because we're using the exact same layers, when we do get to prototyping, everything's gonna animate really beautifully. And you can continue adding additional elements. Maybe this bar at the bottom maybe it's not seen initially, right? So I'm gonna just drop the opacity because you might not want that being in the way. Maybe you'll tap on the screen and it'll pop up. But maybe also there's a chat experience. So, Periscope or all these different, why the size differences? I don't know, it's fun. Some group calling apps have an experience like this. Completely up to you again. You can have them all the same size. You can have them all different sizes. Have fun with it, right? You can also have chat bubbles. So let's say right over here, maybe they're in addition to the people up here, maybe there's viewers. Maybe this is like a podcast app, right? So I'm gonna do something like this. Maybe on the inside, I will create a lovely little ellipse for our avatar, right? And then, oh, I can't see anything. Change the color. This is maybe where your friends will be talking. And let's hop over to Finder, grab an image, pop that in there. Let's make this a little bit smaller. And this is a great opportunity to use padding and stacks one more time, right? So if I select all of these objects, I can pop them into a group. And I may also want, let's say, I can keep the avatar in a group, just like that, or I can put it with the background. But I'm gonna set this to chat, turn on stacking, turn on padding. Padding's done automatically. So if I duplicate this, oops, I should probably left align it. Hope you're all doing well. Not going well, no, maybe, I don't know. Doing well. Switch over to Finder, pop another one in there, right? So stacks, padding, all that fun stuff works wonderful. Let's do one more. And let's add another image here. And I have, whoops. I have a question. Wonderful. So we have all of our chat bubbles looking pretty good. Now we may want some of them towards the top to kind of fade away. So I'll just drop the opacity of this one to maybe 40%, this one to 70% or 60%, and then just pop them into place. Right, so if we take a look, it's looking pretty good. All right, so we've gone ahead and created our various screens. And now what we want to do is want to start adding some prototyping, and we want to start adding some audio triggers. So into prototype mode we go. We're going to start by selecting this object right here, which is going to initiate our call. And we want to transition to this second artboard. So I'm going to drag the handle right over here. And in this case, we do want a tap trigger within the properties inspector. And the type is going to be set to auto animate because we want those bubbles to animate really nicely. Of course, if you didn't have any objects that would be animated, you can choose a simple transition. We'll do, let's say, an ease in and out, and let's try 0.6 seconds. Let's see what that looks like. Click. Oh, okay, not bad. I'm kind of digging it, right? But of course, we want to make it more exciting. We want to make it feel a little bit more real. And that's where audio playback can come into play. So right down here, you can go ahead and add an additional action to this prototype. In this case, it'll be an audio playback. You can also add speech playback as well. I'm going to choose a new audio file, and let me go ahead and navigate. So this is going to be basically the audio file that's going to play on this second artboard, right? So let's go ahead and choose this one here, which is the FaceTime call. I'm going to import that. Perfect. And then on this screen here, what we want to do is, after a certain amount of time, we want it to automatically transition to this other screen. So you can imagine this screen, when it appears, it's going to be ringing, and then the call is going to initiate. So with that whole screen and artboard selected, we're going to drag the handle over to the right one more time. This time we do not want a tap trigger. We want a time trigger so that after a certain amount of time, which is the delay, it's going to transition. And let's go for, maybe we'll go for 4 seconds, right? We do want auto animate one more time. And let's see. That looks pretty good. Yep, digging that. Auto animate, ease in and out, 0.6 seconds. That could probably work as well, right? All right, and then finally, on this screen here, when the call actually initiates, we want one more audio playback. So instead of dragging this handle somewhere, because there's nowhere else to drag it, we're simply going to click on it. And we're going to set another time trigger, but we don't want any delay on this one. So type in 00, and then we don't want auto animate, because again, nothing's going to happen. We do want an audio playback. We're going to choose another file, and it's going to be this call start file, this MP3, and we're going to import. There we go. So we've gone ahead and set up the entire interaction. We have our wire going from this artboard, the first one, to the second, with an audio trigger, and from this one, a time trigger to the third, and then we have our little sprout, whatever you want to call this, little wire, that's going to initiate the call. So let's go ahead and see if this works. Hopefully you can hear my audio. You should be able to. Well, let's go ahead and see it. Did you hear that? If not, let me actually mute the music for a second. I'm going to make this louder. Let's play it again. There we go. Fancy. Ankita is saying we can use drag here. Yeah, in some cases you absolutely can. Aubrey's asking, can you do auto animate and audio playback on the same time transition? I don't believe you can at the moment, as you can probably see from this particular wire here, right? So I have a time trigger, auto animate, and we don't at the moment have the ability to add an additional action to this. Something the team is looking into. And everyone heard it. Oh, wonderful. All right. So yeah, let me lower this a little bit, turn the music back on so you can jam out. And while we're at it, we can just go ahead and add some additional icons down here, because we do have a few extra minutes. I will grab the good old ellipse tool, draw one out, and maybe we might want a microphone icon. This could be to mute your mic or turn your mic on. I'm going to change this background to, let's say, a nice gray. We don't want these icons to stand out too much. There we go. So there is our mic icon. We're going to group those. Let's go ahead and add another icon over here. This one, what else might be? Oh, maybe a camera icon. Let me know in the chat what other icons we should put down here. But maybe this one to flip the camera, possibly. Does that make sense? I don't know. We're going to run with it. Pop that in there. Change the color to white as well. Wonderful. Things are a little bit squishy, but we will organize that in a moment. Oh, maybe the chat icon. So you can hop in there and say something in that chat. Let's see. Bum, 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 bum. That one looks pretty good. Make sure, make sure it's in the group again. Center it. There we go. Oh, a thumbs up icon. That could work as well. So we'll do one more and we'll dive in here. Type out thumb. Wonderful. So maybe this will allow you to add emojis or something to that extent, right? There we go. So I'm going to make this bar a little bit longer. Pop this one right around here, this one right around here. And then we can select all of these and make sure they're all lined up. Beautiful. All right, let's do this one more time. Play. I love it. Doesn't it just give a whole new feeling to your prototypes? Just makes it seem much more realistic, right? So that is going, oh, Ankita, we can put the emoji slider, that emoji picker we created, I think it was last week or earlier this week. I don't know days anymore, but you can do that. That would be fun. I challenge some of you to do exactly that. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for today. A big thank you to everyone who has joined me. Cornell, Sam, Umacorn, Alexandra, and Ankita, Katie, Abir, Clever, and Afrosia, and everyone else. Great to see all of you. I'll be back tomorrow to wrap up the latest round of daily challenges. But like I mentioned earlier, I'll be back in just a few weeks with another set. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all tomorrow.